Welcome, everyone. We are going to get started in just a moment. I will hop on to video in a second here too. Please do me a favor and locate the chat box because there's a couple of quick instructions there. And I am going to put some links in there as well. And if you all can see my slides and hear me, if you can just give me a quick thumbs up, that would be fantastic too, because I want to make sure that all of that is working as well. All right, so I'm going to go on mute. I see the thumbs up. That's great. And I will be right back because I'm going to start the recording. All right. So hopping on video, I can't figure out how to get my glasses to not glare so much. So apologies for that, but excited to be here with you all today and greatly appreciate your time. We are here to talk today about strategic career planning. And I think that this is so much more important than it ever has been, given everything that's been going on in the market with layoffs and everything else, that people, as much as possible, we need to stay marketable and make sure that we're planning out and being as proactive as we possibly can be with our careers. So today is hosted by Create Your Career Path, my company, and Georgia State Alumni Association. So welcome everyone for being here today. Just by way of quick introduction, I'm a certified career coach, speaker, and author. I'm actually my company is based in Atlanta, Georgia, and we've got a fantastic team of certified career coaches and resume writers that are located in different parts of the country. But I'm basically almost right down the street from Georgia State, so not too far from Midtown. I've been coaching and training since 2002, hence all of the gray hair. And I have an undergraduate degree from Vanderbilt University. Football team is doing well this year, and a master's degree from the University of Illinois. And the advice that we're going to give you all today is advice that we give to all of our clients to help them develop their strategic career plan. And when we work with our clients, we go through these steps, but we also use and have a template that we provide to our clients when we work with them as well to help them work on their strategic career plan. So we're going to give you some nuggets today to help you get started. So here's our agenda for today and a couple of quick admin items. So number one, we're going to talk about our first key and how to leverage our ideal career model to start to define your internal and external priorities so that you're incorporating and including the right things and covering all of your bases in your strategic career plan. Key number two is we'll talk about the importance of establishing realistic but meaningful career goals as well. Because if you can try to, as much as possible, it's not always going to be perfect, attach your career goals to your values and what's going to be rewarding and help you be successful along the way, you're going to be that much more motivated to achieve those goals, and they'll be the right ones for you. And then key number three we'll talk about today is developing your plan. So do me a favor. We already checked out that everyone can hear me and see my slides, so we should be good there. If you can locate the chat box, that would be great because I put a few notes in there and I will put some links in there along the way. We do not do Q&A, just as a quick reminder for these programs, because we've got the 30 minutes and we want to really focus on the content to get you what you need. As a reminder, which you'll see in the chat box too, you will be getting a copy of the recording from today and the slides. So don't feel like you have to frantically write everything down. Don't panic. I would recommend staying present and listening in while you're here today. And then through the course of it or at the end, choose one action step that makes the most sense for you based on where you are with creating your strategic career plan. Are you halfway through the process? Have you not even started? Whatever makes sense for you, pick the right action step and something that you will take in the next week to help hold you accountable. So let's talk about why we're here today in the next couple of slides, and then we'll start to get into our keys. So we have always asserted since 2002 that career management and being really proactive with your career is critically important. But I feel like now more than ever, we need to be doing that. If you look at the left-hand side of this slide, we always have felt that our jobs are one of our best assets. Now, I realize that, maybe if you invest in real estate, the stock market, okay, fine, I get that. But your job is something, and your career path is something that we really want people to treat as an asset, and as such, that you're paying attention to it. You're being proactive, not reactive. You're being proactive about what you need to be doing in order to stay fulfilled, motivated, but even more so like marketable, and learn all the new things like AI and how that's impacting your job and your industry, etc. And I think that this year, unfortunately, has taught us even more how important career management is, because right sizing can happen. You might have to relocate or might be forced to. Layoffs have been occurring. Like, there's just so many different things that have gone on in the workforce just this year. And I'm not saying that if every single person out there, had managed their career more effectively, they would still be employed. I'm not saying that. But if you are proactive about saying, okay, what do I need to be doing next to stay marketable, to be ready for whatever may come, you will be able to get back on your feet faster, no matter what happens. The other thing that we now know too is that, kind of good news, bad news, is that the majority of the time people will change jobs multiple times in their career. This is just happening a lot more, given everything that's gone on in the past several years. So because of this, and because of economic uncertainty and everything else that could happen, and I'm not being fear-based here, just wanting for people to be prepared and proactive, it's really important to remain marketable and looking towards what's the next step that I want to take in my career, even if it's a couple of years out. We also want you to remain clear about your goals and your direction, and be your own best advocate. We had a client once, when she first started with us, she admitted and said, you know what, I haven't gotten a raise in 10 years. She hadn't asked for it. And we all know that even if we have a wonderful boss, and there are a lot of good ones out there, who advocates for us, at the end of the day, we need to be our own best advocate. And finally, in addition to remaining marketable, etc., we want you to remain fulfilled and challenged, because eventually, if you're not doing that, you could get burned out. You could feel like, okay, what's my next move? And again, at the end of the day, we don't want you to feel like you're behind the 8 ball. So let's talk first about our first key. And reminder for anyone who's just joining us, you will get the slides and a copy of the recording. So we leverage and use this ideal career model with our clients to help them not just define their career direction, but help them establish the right career goals to develop their career plan in the long run. And this model, looking at each piece and what it means for you, and we'll go through each of these in the next couple of slides here, helps you evaluate and understand and clarify what your priorities are internally and externally. So the heart and fulfillment piece, personality type, all of that, but also compensation and everything else that you need to live. And we recommend that when you're starting out with your plan, you are looking at and kind of checking the box, looking at each of these pieces and incorporating one long-term goal at a minimum with each of these areas. Now, you may have more than one goal for some of these areas, or pieces, if you will, if one of those pieces is way out of whack for you. So for example, if you're really not fulfilled at your job, you may have a few extra goals. If, for example, you've been laid off and compensation is a really big thing, you may say, okay, look, my main goals right now are to get my job search, my resume, LinkedIn up to speed, making sure that I'm leveraging my experience, education, maybe taking some courses in order to help me be more marketable. So let's look at each of these pieces kind of one by one so that you can start to understand the goals that you may need to put in place, or at least consider for your long-term plan. So we always have people start with the dark blue here at the bottom right. And the reason why we want people to do this is you are going to be more successful, effective, and stay longer where you are in a good way if you get meaning and feel fulfilled by the work that you do. There's less burnout, all this other good stuff. And fulfillment means that you want to set some career goals or long-term that you're honoring your career values on a regular basis. You're getting a sense of meaning in some way from your work, some sense of accomplishment, satisfaction, or that you're aligned with the mission of your organization. Any of those things can kind of fall in the fulfillment bucket, okay? And this is what helps you remain stable. I guess the way to describe it is stable, committed, and motivated in one career path, even through the ups and downs, because you've got that foundation of getting a sense of meaning from what you do. The second thing we want you to look at is on the left-hand side. This is making sure that your typical day at work, as much as possible, we're not saying anything is going to be perfect here per se, but as much as possible, you're performing the tasks that you'd really like to perform. What's the majority of your day like? What are some of those other things? So what are the ideal projects, tasks, et cetera, that you want to be working on for enjoyment, but also to help you stay marketable? Then we want you to take a look at, going to the left, your strengths, making sure that you're staying on top of the skills and strengths that are required for your industry, and also making sure that you're leveraging the ones that you want to leverage in the job you're in now, and looking forward at what do I need to add over the next couple of years? Where is my industry going related to AI, technology, everything else? So having some goals related to your strengths, and very closely related here to what kind of training do you want to get in the next few years, new skills, new projects you need to work on to expand your repertoire, certifications perhaps too. So the strengths, education, and experience kind of go together. And we want you to consider those things as part of your plan, whether it's attending a conference, whether it's taking a class on LinkedIn Learning, getting a certification, whatever makes sense. We'll show you some places where you can identify what the right things are in the next several slides. The other things that we want you to absolutely consider are the last two at the bottom, not because they're not important, but because they kind of round out your goals in the picture. So one of the things that you do want to consider up here is your long-term career goals related to your personality type, making sure that you're in the right work environment, doing your work at the right place that supports and works for you, that you're working with the right type of people, have a boss that's right for you, etc. But also that you're in a role that's a match for your personality type as much as possible. Again, not everything's going to be perfect. And I realize that we only have control over certain things. The good news is we find that small changes equal big results here. So moving your career in the direction that it fits with your personality type, that you are in or remain or move into the right work environment for you. And then finally, what are your long-term goals for compensation? Making sure that you've got your benefits taken care of, health insurance, all that other really, really important stuff. But then also, what is your 5-year goal for your salary? We like for people to start in terms of like 5 years out and work backwards with their plan. And we'll talk about that more in just a moment. So thinking about compensation as well and incorporating that into your plan. One of the examples to dive a little bit deeper into thinking about your strengths, for example, is to get a clear sense as you're establishing your goals and thinking about what would make sense for you, is get a clear sense first about what your strengths are. Interview other people and ask them, what are my top strengths? What do I do better than most people that you know, et cetera, et cetera. Some of the questions are listed on the slide here. But finding out a little bit more and checking in with your strengths every year to make sure that you're staying on top of what you need to develop, but also making sure that you're standing in your brand and developing that over time and leveraging your strengths in a way that you really want to is a very important piece of your long-term career plan. Then going a little bit deeper into experience in education, for example. As part of staying on top of new technology. How is AI influencing your industry and your role? What do you need to do to adapt to that? Are there certifications that you need to consider? And if not, that's okay. But you want to be thinking about how to, again, stay on the leading edge of things. In some cases for you, it may be less of, oh, I need to go take a class. And if you look at the list here, like LinkedIn Learning or industry associations will sometimes have courses, but also attending association meetings, networking with people in your industry. This is what's going to help you stay on top of trends and know what you need to be paying attention to. But in some cases, it's more like, I need to take on this new or different project, something that's a little bit different than I've done in the past, so that I'm expanding my resume and expanding my repertoire. So a few places that you can learn about what you need to do to stay leading edge, etc. Industry association courses and events. That is a great place to network with people, find out what's going on, and stay in the know. LinkedIn Learning is a great place to look for courses. You might check out the blogs or newsletters for your industry association, or maybe a different industry that you'd like to get into. And BLS.gov has good statistics and information about where your industry is headed. And you can even just Google or use ChatGPT to say, how is AI influencing A, B, C industry, to find out more about what you need to be paying attention to. The key is to take just a couple of minutes to think about it. This doesn't have to take that long, just FYI. And our last quick key related to the first one, and then we'll keep moving, is to also think about what strengths you need to develop. This is a leadership wheel from Development Dimensions International. It's a highly regarded management consulting firm. And these are some of the top strengths they assert are important in today's economy. Rate yourself. See how you are doing and what you think as a self-assessment. We also highly recommend and invite you to ask other people to rank you, because sometimes we discount what comes naturally to us and don't give ourselves enough credit for things that we're actually really good at. And this can help you decide, okay, where am I strong and I need to really lean into that? And are there areas that I need to improve a little bit more? We always mention on these webinars that I'm happy to do a free consult if you are interested in learning about coaching with us, to find out if it's the right thing for you at this time or later on, if we're the right fit. You can use the QR code to set that up. I put a link in the chat box just now as well. We do offer a discount and sliding scale rates for alumni of Georgia State and also people who attend our webinars. So please feel free, if you set this up with me, let me know that you heard about this on this webinar, and we'll get you going with the right package for your budget and right pricing for your budget. So we looked at the model to help you think about what types of goals I want to make sure that I'm focused on. Now, the second key is to, as much as you possibly can, base your goals on your values, because all of your goals are going to be that much more meaningful to you, kind of the right ones for you, if you will. Cover all of your bases, and you're going to be that much more motivated to make them happen. So even with compensation goals, for example, and you say to yourself, what will that money and that salary give me? It'll give me peace of mind and financial stability, for example, which is one of my values, let's say. You may be like, one of my values is ensuring that my kids get to go travel. One of my values is giving back, and you've got a bucket for donations or whatever it is. You want to set realistic goals for your strategic career plan that you can actually achieve, but you also want to stretch a little bit. Remember, we don't want to play too safe. And this is where we can help you a little bit more if you feel like you need that balance. But as much as you can, try to attach each of your goals as much as possible to one of your career values as well. It's going to be that much more like jazzy for you, if you will, for lack of a better way of saying it. The other thing that we want you to consider when you are creating your strategic career plan is, like, what's going on in your life now? Where are you at, not just age-wise, but professional development wise, where are you at in terms of your career? Do you want to move up, or are you like, not so much? I'd rather kind of stay put. What has changed for you in the past year? We find that too many people, which I get, I've done this before too, they don't pay enough attention to their strategic career plan and keep it updated at least once a year. We want you to do annual planning. This is why we're doing this webinar in October, because we're moving into the new year. This is a good time to start thinking about this. So what has changed for you in the past year, and what does that mean in terms of your goals? For example, in the middle of the slide, what strengths do you want to continue to leverage versus what do you want to maybe move on from? Are there new strengths and skills that you'd like to gain, adopt, or adapt to? But also, do you want to leverage the current strengths that you have, but maybe just in a different way or in a different industry? And then a third thing to consider as part of your plan, we've already been harping on this, is what's meaningful to you, yes, and how is your industry, though, being impacted by technology? And 5 years out, what does that mean you need to be prepared for as much as you possibly can? We realize no one has a crystal ball. And we, again, are not saying this is perfection here. But as much as you can think forward or be forward thinking about what's next for you, you'll at least be in that mindset of preparing for it. So if and when things do come your way, you've already put some thinking into it. Let's talk about key number 3, and this is creating your plan. So the template that we use with our clients involves an Excel spreadsheet that helps them check all the boxes with the different pieces of the model. And there's different tabs in it to create their goals and timelines as well. So remember, we said a minute ago, start at 5 years and work backwards. What do they always say? Start with the, or begin with the end in mind, right? Start at 5 years as best as you can. Start to develop that vision for yourself. And if it's not 100% clear, that's okay. Keep working on it. And then work backwards and say, okay, based on what I think I'd like to do at that point, 3 years, 1 year, 6 months, etc. The second thing listed on this slide is making sure you use our model so that you're covering all of your bases, checking all of the boxes, and not forgetting something. We really love it when our clients create a vision board or a vision as well as a plan. So they've got kind of an image and an emotional attachment, so to speak, or motivation to make that long-term goal occur. Make sure that inside of your plan, you also include, looking at this slide, any obstacles to success and what you're going to do about this. So we've got your strengths, which is great. What are the things that you tend to struggle with? The obstacles that sometimes hold you back and get in your way. Is it procrastination? Is it just getting too busy? Is it time management? These are also clues to long-term goals, but also you want to create a plan for those to say, okay, what am I going to start to do about this? I'm going to get support. I'm going to use an app that times me on my time, whatever it is. And then finally, we recommend at this beginning phase, if you're just starting out with your strategic career plan, it's a mouthful, that you check it and update it quarterly at the beginning. And then depending on what's going on with your career, if things seem pretty stable and are kind of moving forward, and for example, if you started a new position, you can move to updating it once a year. Again, situational, depending on where things are at for you at that time in your life and in your career. As part of your plan, as we've already said, if you look on the left-hand side, what training and experience do you need or want to get? What are the critical roles that you'd like to have along the way? If you want to be over here in 5 years, what do you need to be doing? What are the job titles along the way? Do you want to move on from where you are, or do you want to stay there until you retire? Some people want to move up to senior level management, C-suite. Some people don't want to, and that's okay too. And include in your plan the support and accountability that you need in order to make this plan happen. We already talked about blocks to success, and we already talked to, on the right-hand side here, about the importance of networking to stay in the know and current about what's going on. So it's staying current with people on LinkedIn, but also in person events, association meetings, even if some of them are virtual, that's okay too. And as part of implementing your plan, and we'll start to move to our last few slides for today, remember to keep an eye on your email because you will receive the recording and the slides automatically. It's really important, obviously, to implement your plan. So let's talk about those for a moment. As part of your strategic career plan, as you are working on enhancing your skills, etc., incorporate it to your plan too. How am I going to start to build or continue to build my brand so that people know who I am within my organization and within my industry? What's the portfolio, so to speak, you need of experiences and skills? Making sure that along the way, you are taking very specific, calculated risks to move you forward in your career, right? Without risk, there's no reward. So to push yourself to try something new, do something a little bit different, even if it's less comfortable for you, so that you don't get too complacent. So again, you're not caught behind the 8 ball. The second thing as part of implementing your plan is you want to make sure that you're constantly creating value for your organization, for your career as well. Actively seek opportunities across your organization or within your industry so that you are seen and are expanding your repertoire of projects as well, and building those transferable skills along the way too. And then third, think about, as we talked about before, the roles that you want to have. What are your promotion salary goals and optimizing your career and life fit? Think about the evolution of your career over time. And here's the thing, create your plan and know that everything is not necessarily going to go according exactly to the plan. But the point is that you've got something written down. You have something versus nothing. You're being intentional and proactive versus reactive. That's the goal. The plan is not for you to be so stressed out about it because everything has to be perfect. It's more the thought process that goes into it and writing things down as well. So I hope this was helpful for you for today related to strategic career planning. Our next webinar is going to be on November 18th, how to negotiate during a performance review. And we've got some really good tips for that because a lot of people get nervous about this process and there's certain things that we really want you to do. If you're already on our newsletter list, you will get a notification about this inside of our newsletter. There's a link to register for it directly right now though, and you can also use the QR code if that's easier for you. And then finally, before we go, and we want you to write down your action steps before we leave too, we've got a fantastic strategic career planning workshop. It's a multi-session webinar series. It's starting in January, so it's perfect for the new year. It's going to help you with all of the pieces of our model, understand what the right next step is for you and creating that long-term strategic career plan. And you get all the tools that we've talked about today. Feel free to reach out and set up a time to talk with me if you have any questions about any of these options, or you can reply to any of the emails that we have sent you and I will get it and be able to respond to you directly. So before we go, write down one thing that you will take action from related to today. It could be, I'm going to get the slides and print out the career model and start working on my plan. It could be, I've already got a good plan. There's some pieces missing, so I need to incorporate those into there. Make sure that you move forward with what we've talked about today. Take a look at the chat box for the links. We look forward to seeing you on the next webinar in November and greatly appreciate your time today. I hope it was helpful for you, and happy Halloween. Have a great rest of the week.